You got to get me in there. Okay, first of all, I'm getting you and everybody on here, and we're going to see, I don't really know how this is going to work, but I'm going to share the screen and try to show y'all my PowerPoint, okay?
All I see is my picture right now.
Okay, well, hang on. Okay, I don't know where Hannah is, but share screen. Okay, can y'all see my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, can everybody see it?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, I had to do a some kind of problem that we had at the STAR program. So I was trying to figure out how to improve the dropout rate at the STAR program.
Okay.
So first of all, let me give you a little brief background on the STAR program. It started in April of 2010, and we service low risk students, males and females, aging between 12 and 17. These students, of course, are court ordered by the juvenile court, and they're given a probation officer. Now, I'll give you a definition of a probation officer in a few minutes. When this program started, the students were only required to stay a minimum of 3 months. Now, since the program has been in existence, they are staying longer, and they actually stay until they fulfill or they are successful in their service plan. So the number of the students, the STAR students that are not completing high school, of course, became a problem. I began to look at how many students were graduating or completing high school, and the number began to rise over 50%. So that was why I chose this as my problem. The next slide tells you what I suggested, my hypothesis. That was my opinion, that if the students got in our program at an earlier age, maybe instead of 17 and we got them at 12 and 13, then we could deal with these problems a little bit earlier, and they would stay in the program a longer period of time, and then hopefully they would be more successful at maintaining their education and not wanting to drop out of high school. The definitions that I said was the JPO, that's the Juvenile Probation Officer. He is somebody that supervises the youth. He is their person that, when they're placed on probation, they have to go back and forth with him, and he's in charge kind of these accused individuals. The STAR program stands for Saving Teens at Risk. It is an adolescent day program. I told this, I think, in the beginning. We service male and females, ages 12 to 17, and we provide intervention and prevention services. We have different plans for each individual student. Substance abuse is what we're going to see in a minute, and it is something that affects everybody. It is one of the main factors that says that students drop out of school is due to substance abuse. So we'll look, that word will come up in a few minutes on a different slide. The literature, we had to read several articles. We had to read 6 articles and compare these articles, but I'm only going to tell you about 3 that I read because they were 3 that were actually a little bit different. The first article was by Roberts, and he talked about if students had a more stressful life in their earlier age, then they became more at risk. So he wanted us to become to try to deal with the problem sooner. Therefore, we would help to keep them in school, and they would not be one of the statistics of the dropout rate. Another article that was entitled "A High School Dropout Prevention Program" by Castle, it completely had a different outlook. Castle talked about how teachers and administrators should help with the students, not just the parents. It was not placed, all of the success rate in education was not placed on just the parents, but he wanted more of it placed on administrators and schools. So he kind of looked at it a little bit different. The third article talked about, was from Kirk and Sampson, and they strictly focused on the factors and that cause these kids to drop out. Now, every single article mentioned these same factors. They were neighborhoods, schools, family, peers, and individual problems. Now, what these are is individual is dealing with, I think I clicked my slide back, but individual talks about anxiety and depression, family life, that was a big one. If you were a single parent, or if you had no rules set at home and the kids didn't have any expectations, they just would come and go as they pleased. Or maybe the neighborhood, where the kids are raised, who they play with, where they hang out with. All of these things are factors that lead to the dropout rate. One article that I didn't put in this was another one mentioned, I just lost my train of thought, but how students would, they were tending to blame everyone else. Like, instead of, they would put the blame on other people. So, no matter what the situation is or what the factor was, all of these things play a part in dropout rate. Neighborhood, schools, family, peers, and individual problems. So the final thing is the plan. What can we do? I began to study over the last 7 years. I looked at 84 students that's been in the STAR program for the past 7 years. I looked at the time they've stayed in the program, what crime they had committed in the program, if they completed school. I looked if they were male or female, and at their age when they came in the program. And in my regular paper, I had all these graphed out. So what I found out was that most of the students were 17-year-old when they came into the program. The majority of the students were 17. Most of them, or some of them, stayed for a minimum of 3 months, which was not long enough. We needed them a little bit longer. They were there for marijuana or substance abuse, and 52% of the students were not completing school. So that was a major concern for me. So what I plan to do with the other people at our school, the STAR program, we want to look at our students that we currently have and any new students. We want to continue for them to participate in any program that is provided to them or their family based on their needs. Now, the program, they stay in there 6 months or longer, depending on each individual child. They will remain with the aftercare with the counselor for 3 months, where she sees them 4 times the first month, 3 times the second month, and 2 times the third month. And hopefully we can start getting these students when they first get into trouble, maybe at 12 and 13, and not wait until they're 17. So it is my belief that if the students remain in the STAR program for the full 6 months, they're on these programs that help them with the crime that they're committed, whether it be marijuana, abuse, whatever the situation is, even truancy. They're monitored and they are helped by the STAR staff. Then they will remain in school, get their degree, or just finish their education, whether it be a GED or be a graduate, and become more successful. And they will not be part of the dropout rate. That's not what we want them to be. And then, of course, here are my references that I used. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody?
Very good, very good.
Hannah, Miss Kay, anybody have a question? Thank you. All right, that's all.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
All right, I give you a plus.
Thank you.